report. Make sure everything is looking all right. It is February 19th, 2025. And Bush. We have some developments on the Pope. Trump has called Zelensky a dictator. There's a big riff going on between Europe and America, and NATO and America. They're talking about pulling out and going back to 1990 levels. So there's major things going on. The whole world order is changing. So we're going to, not a terrible amount here, but thank you very much. Thank you for the 5x5 Glock. But there's a lot of like really big nuggets in here. So we're going to be covering them. And hopefully you saw the video on PrepperNow, the latest one, talking about how basically, well, I called it Brave New World, and for some reason they took that as, anyway, whatever. There's one of those little warning things below it, but it's got absolutely nothing to do with the video. I'm talking more about screens and our fact that digital world is affecting us. But yeah, go check out the latest on PrepperNow. Hudson Valley Preparedness. He has done a video with me. We did a collab and did like a video together. And so I got to tell you, I've kicked it around. I said maybe we should do like a podcast or something, So I always love talking to he and Livingston, man. So we'll see. But yeah, they did a video where we all talk and we address a lot of things. Our video that is on his channel. So go over and check that out. I might be posting it over onto my Rumble just to have my own version of it. So good talk. Always a good time with those boys. But yeah, we are here. We are going to do the things and go through it. So I appreciate you being here. You know what to do. Hit all the like buttons and the subscribe and all that. I've been at the same subscriber count now for 3 months. So I don't really care over here, to be honest with you. So I just go and I do my thing over here. And, this is just a little bit of I almost consider it like a public service. So, but I was watching Ford Observer. He was talking about Intel and everything and how important it is. And, when you don't have it, it's called an intelligence gap. And he was talking about like what it would be like if you get the information 12 to 24 hours before everybody else. Like, what does that do for you? If you knew that Ukraine was going to collapse a day before everybody else in the world did, you could position yourself with all kinds of different things to win the day. Well, something I'm very proud about always is the crisis report is that I'm always ahead. I don't cover everything, but the stuff I do cover, I really do feel like it's about 12 hours before everybody else. So we're going to go into it. We're going to be doing the things here. And yeah, let's talk tonight about what you're going to hear about tomorrow, right? Okay. So this is your crisis report for February 19th, 2025. This is called Funeral Rehearsal because a certain big someone is possibly going to be not with us anymore. We'll see. All right, here we go. U.S. President Donald Trump said Tuesday he will keep restricting Associated Press access to the White House until the news agency obeys his order renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Elon Musk's Doge finds nearly $40 billion in spending linked to government-issued credit cards. Wow, what they're doing. KFC shifts U.S. headquarters from Kentucky to Texas. COVID, Rona, jabs could be suspended for all ages in America under what they're calling radical new plans backed by key health figures in the Trump administration. There's a lot of developments coming out around this. I don't know if you've heard a lot of the latest, but we knew in this family way back in the day, and we stayed pure. And I'll just leave it at that. Hopefully you did too. And if not, well, it's it is what it is. So a lot of people got pressured into it. So I got nothing but love for you. I get it. Putin says Russian troops launched new attack on Ukrainian territory. No one but Putin wanted Ukraine war, German foreign minister. Denmark has allocated $7 billion extra defense spending in 2025-2026, according to their prime minister. Trump has branded Zelensky a dictator without elections. Big riff today on that one. President Putin announced that Russia and the United States have officially agreed to restore diplomatic relations. The United States government has officially designated Venezuela's Tren de Aragua and Mexico's Sinaloa cartel as terrorist organizations. He did a bunch of them. Musk says that if will of the president is not implemented and the president is representative of the people, that means the will of the people is not being implemented, and that means we do not live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. Does that make sense? I mean, circular logic, but there's some truth to it. People voted for Trump. He's doing this stuff, and there's a lot of people that are okay with it. So, it is what it is. Trump administration has paused immigration applications for Latin American and Ukrainian migrants under the Biden-era programs, citing fraud and security concerns. $4.7 trillion in payments by the United States Treasury has basically, they're untraceable. They don't know where it's at. So we're missing almost $5 trillion, or we don't know where it went to. Think about that. Think about the schools. Think about people getting fed. Think about small business loans. Think about all kinds of stuff. Extra money to our service members. It's a sad, sad day. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, after meeting with the Russian officials in Riyadh, said there is an incredible opportunity to partner with the Russians geopolitically on issues of common interest and, frankly, economically. United States debt clock now indicates that Doge has cut over $112 billion in spending. There is talk of a big old fat check coming to all of us in the name of Doge for all the savings and graft that they have stopped, supposedly. EU pushes buy European quotas in major plan to revive the industry. European Commission is planning to introduce made in the EU quotas in carbon product labels as it tries to revive ailing manufacturers while hitting climate targets. Proposals are laid out in draft of the Commission's Clean Industrial Deal obtained by Politico ahead of the February 26th unveiling. The draft document offers the EU executive's grand strategy for weaving together the bloc's efforts to decarbonize and revitalize its heavy industry, setting out the steps it plans to take in the coming years. The plan lands at a precarious political moment. European manufacturers in sectors such as steel and cement say excessive bureaucracy and high energy costs, it's Europe, are leaving them unable to compete with the U.S. and China, exacerbating the problem. Both Washington and Beijing are spending lavishly on their companies, with new President Trump in particular employing a Buy American rhetoric. Gold closed at an all-time high of $2,930. Another 160,000 ounces of physical gold were delivered to COMEX vaults, bringing total to 37.6 million troy ounces, with Big Three vaults at all-time highs. Vice President Vance says the United Kingdom might become the first truly Islamist country with nuclear weapons. He'll expand upon that in a moment. Electric truck maker Nikola files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in Delaware. Plane has crashed in Marana Regional Airport in Pima County, Arizona. Rainbow appeared over the hospital where Pope Francis was hospitalized. Catholics are gathering in prayer outside the hospital where the Pope was being treated, hoping for a miracle. President Trump announced he is considering giving Americans 20% of the savings generated by Doge following a proposal from Elon Musk. And from what I understand, they're thinking about a $5,000 check to everybody that's a taxpayer. Now, I don't like stimulus money. I think it increases inflation overall. But if ever there was a time where people could use an extra $5K, I mean, now would be it. So, we'll see. Big talk from Elon and Mr. Trump. FBI in Houston reports that they have thwarted a planned mass casualty attack at a school, arresting 2 local teenagers involved in the plot. Good. Glad they didn't carry it out. President Trump plans to order Doge to audit Fort Knox to verify that all gold reserves are properly accounted for. So, what do you think? You think they're going to audit it, or is it all just for show? Think they're going to really do it? Put a 1 in. If you think it's all for show, put a 2 in. Put a 3 in if you think they're going to do it, but it's going to show that there's no gold there. Excuse me. President Trump plans to order Doge to audit Fort Knox to verify all gold reserves are properly accounted for. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian says in a meeting with the Emir of Qatar, here we go, some 2s, some 1s, and some 3s all over the place. We emphasize the need for measures by Islamic nations to reduce the suffering of the people of Gaza and stop Zionist crimes. The EU has approved a new sanctions package against Russia, banning aluminum imports and imposing export restrictions on chemicals, chrome, and shadow fleet vessels, along with a ban on servicing oil and gas refineries. Italian press service covering the Vatican, RAI Vaticano, has been alerted as a structural unit for the eventuality of an extraordinary addition. Messa in Latino, Italian blog covering church news. In other words, RAI Vaticano are preparing news reports and programs for the passing of Pope Francis, suggesting the pontiff's health has further worsened. Israeli intelligence indicates that Egypt is violating the peace agreement with Israel, including expanding military bases, building tunnels, and conducting maneuvers simulating a confrontation with the IDF. Satellite images show that the IDF has established at least 7 new outposts from Syrian Mount Hermon in the northern part of the demilitarized zone to Tel Qudna in the southern section near the Israeli-Syria-Jordan border triangle. Trump administration has stopped all funding to the Palestinian Authority and their security forces. Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has been advised by government officials to soften his rhetoric related to the Israeli-Hamas war to avoid any scrutiny or retaliation from U.S. President Trump. I mean, he's literally scaring people. Italy is preparing for a possible U.S. troop withdrawal from Kosovo, leaving European allies to manage escalating tensions with Serbia alone. Ukraine's pro-Western ex-president Petro Poroshenko, recently sanctioned by the incumbent President Zelensky, revealed that President Zelensky himself illegally avoided military draft registration at least 4 times in the past, 2014 to 2015, after the first Russian invasion. Zelensky is reported to have received official letters about him being summoned to the conscription office. However, he never showed up there, according to the data provided by the former president. Doge head Elon Musk has spread the news further on X social networks. A contingent of 105 U.S. Marines has begun their withdrawal from Okinawa, Japan, marking the first step in a broader plan to relocate 9,000 Marines over the coming years. The move is part of an agreement between the U.S. and Japan aimed at reducing the American military presence on the island, a legacy of World War II. The Marines were redirected to a new base in Guam. England is considering patrolling Ukraine's airspace after the conflict is resolved instead of deploying ground troops. Discussions are currently underway regarding the potential withdrawal of U.S. troops from NATO countries in Europe that joined the alliance after 1990. This development follows recent negotiations between Russia and the United States, where such troop withdrawals were reportedly a key goal. Reports indicate that Trump may consider this move as part of a broader discussions aimed at reshaping U.S. military commitments in Europe, particularly in light of shifting priorities towards the Indo-Pacific region. Countries potentially affected by this withdrawal include Albania, Bulgaria, Croatia, Czechia, Estonia, Finland, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Sweden. While some officials believe that a full withdrawal is unlikely, there is speculation that a reduction in troop presence could occur, particularly in the Baltic states and possibly Kosovo. NATO Military Committee has acknowledged the need for European nations to bolster their own defense capabilities in response to these developments. Member of the Bundestag for the far-left party, Link, was wearing a black Antifa baklava, called on people to get active now ahead of the elections in Germany. Gregor Gysi appeared on the internet wearing a black baklava embroidered with red thread, number 161. This is a numerical code used by Antifa. The numbers are the respective letters on the alphabet for AFA, which is anti-fascist action. So, Antifa making a rise. Vance warns Zelensky he will regret bad-mouthing Trump and condemns his atrocious response to peace talks. The United States declares 8 Latin drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Those would be Tren de Aragua, MS-13, Sinaloa Cartel, Jalisco Nu Generacion Cartel, I'm just kidding, United Cartels, Gulf Cartel, Northeast Cartel, Michoacan family or familia. Drogas. Trump to sign executive order designed to determine any and all federal taxpayer benefits going to illegal aliens, according to Fox News. President Trump, in the ongoing talks in Saudi Arabia regarding the war in Ukraine, said, "I think I have the power to end this war, and I think it's going very well. But today I heard we weren't invited." Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. Ukraine, Europe, and NATO are all in complete shock. President of Ukraine has canceled his visit to Saudi Arabia tomorrow. So, United States Vice President Vance said back in July 2024 in the National Conservatism Conference that the first Islamic country with nuclear weapons could be Britain because Labour won the election. Possible. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that tomorrow will be a very difficult day for the state of Israel, a shocking day, a day of sorrow. We are bringing home 4 of our beloved fallen hostages. We hug the families, and the heart of an entire nation is torn. My heart is torn, yours too, and the heart of the entire world needs to be torn, because here we see who we are dealing with, what we are dealing with, what monsters we are dealing with. We grieve, we hurt, but we are also determined to ensure something like this will never happen again. United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has directed Pentagon to prepare for an 8% budget cut per year over the next 5 years. Cuts could amount to tens of billions of dollars annually and are expected to face strong bipartisan opposition in Congress. We share the goal with Trump to put an end to the Russian war of aggression that has been going on for about 3 years. That was stated by Mr. Emmanuel Macron today. Interesting. British ministers privately admit that Prime Minister Keir Starmer is trying to avoid antagonizing Trump as he seeks to become a bridge between the Trump administration and Europe. Starmer has yet to comment on Trump's claims that Zelensky is a dictator. United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is considering firing a number of military generals and officers this week. Many of those expected to be fired have been closely associated with Biden's Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Generals and officers are expected to be replaced with people who are aligned with Hegseth and Trump. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk is saying imposing forced surrender on Ukraine means surrender of the entire West. 41% of the full-time jobs created during the Biden administration were government employees. Massive fire erupted last night at SPS Technologies, manufacturer and global supplier of aerospace nuts, bolts, and associated products in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, in the U.S. Witness statements indicated that there was an explosion within the building. The 560,000 square foot facility was engulfed in flames, but the building was immediately evacuated and all employees were accounted for. Trump says we have to do something with Greenland. We have to protect Greenland, but we need it for national security, and we need it, maybe, more importantly, for international security. In a poll of 501 Israeli adults, 68% said they supported the United States President Donald Trump's plan to relocate people from the Gaza Strip. Italian President Giorgia Meloni visited the Pope in Gemelli Hospital. Swiss newspaper Blick claims that members of the Swiss Guard are under a curfew as they are preparing for the pontiff's death. So they are looking and waiting and seeing if all this hubbub is actually going to mean something and the man does succumb to his ailment. And everybody hopes a person in their 80s gets healthy, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. Very interesting to see. So, folks, all I can say is, I think that's it. Is that it? Yep. That's your crisis report for February 19th, 2025. Please go check out the video here if you haven't already, and check out the video on Hudson Valley Preparedness where he and I yap it up. But we appreciate you. God bless. Check the links in the description. And we'll see you on the next one. Okay? Be well.